Hi, I'm Eileen Fleming, reporter and editor for the Wawa blog, wearewideawake.org. I met Mordechai Vanunu the first time in June 2005 to interview him regarding his childhood and why he became a Christian. That interview is available on www.wearewideawake.org. In March 2006, I met with Vanunu again to ask him to help me understand how a democracy such as Israel continues to get away with human rights abuses, denies the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and regarding this fact. On May 14, 1948, the Declaration of the Establishment of Israel stated, "On the day of the termination of the British Mandate, and on the strength of the United Nations General Assembly, declare the State of Israel will be based on freedom, justice, and peace as envisaged by the prophets of Israel, and will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, and it will guarantee freedom of religion and conscience and be faithful to the Charter of the United Nations." So, my question to Vanunu is, if the British mandate has expired, why has not the British mandate's emergency defense regulations, which continue to hold him captive, as well as millions of Palestinians? Vanunu told me the reason given is security, but the real reason is because Israel is not a democracy unless you are a Jew. What follows now is some of the rest of our interview of March 24, 2006.
Great. Okay. I just want to say that I'm ready to speak and to tell my story and my situation here to any media people, channel, radio, TV, to bring this story to the US people to know the truth about the Israel democracy and the Israel nuclear weapons and the freedom of speech and the human rights in Israel. Yes, when the Israel state was established, they cancelled the mandates law and they brought the Israelis law and orders, but they left some of the British mandates law from the emergency time. They used them before Israel state was established, and Israel keeping these mandates law for doing a lot of things that they are not allowed to do in a democracy systems, democratic style. These, they call them emergency laws, allow Israel to do many acts that contrary to human rights and to freedom of movement, freedom of liberty, freedom of speech. Those mandates laws used until now, in spite that many human rights organizations criticizing them in Israel and outside of Israel, but the Supreme Court still holding these mandates law because they allow Israel to use in the name of security, the name of state security, to commit many crimes against human beings, Palestinians and foreigners. Especially Israel using these emergency laws from the mandate time to demolish houses of the Palestinians. They demolished thousands of houses since Israel state exists, according to these emergency laws from the mandate time. It means they are punishing people without trial, without people have the right to speak. Just because they have this order, they can go and demolish the house and no one can say anything, no one can demand anything from this state. They said they can arrest anyone for 6 months without any charges, without any man who can go to the court and defend himself. They call it administrative arrest. They can put anyone in this arrest without trial. The same, they are using them against people who they don't want them to leave the country, to speak outside of the state. They give them the orders not to leave the country. That's what they are now using against me. I'm free after serving full sentence of 18 years. Even if it is unjustly sentenced, yet I served full sentence and I have the right to be free and to leave the country. Yet they come and put me now in these administrative orders not to leave the country for 1 year, and now another year, and next month they can decide another 3rd year. But these mandate law are also used, especially in this case, to tell me I'm not allowed to speak to foreigners. According to these orders, they can say anything, just they use this title, Mandates Law, emergency time, and they can give any orders to anyone without anyone can challenge them. So this time they use them against me about freedom of speech. I'm not allowed to speak to foreigners. I'm not allowed to meet foreigners. Yet I'm doing it and speaking because I'm believing the basic human right, the basic of our humanity is to speak, to express our belief, our views, to exercise this speech. If we will not exercise this freedom of speech, it means we are not a human being. And no any state or any power can take this basic right from us, because we are defending our humanity, and we cannot accept that someone will treat us as animals in a zoo. That's what I'm doing, and since my release I'm speaking, talking. The result is they arrested me 3 times, and now they charge me for not obeying this order not to speak to foreigners. And the trial started in January and continue until now, and we'll see how this trial will continue next month. So I decided that as a human being and as my responsibility to all the other human beings around me in the world, the human race, I decided that I should report to the world about the danger of atomic weapons in secret in Israel. And that's what I did 20 years ago, after finishing my job in Dimona nuclear weapons factory that Israel building there the atomic weapons in secret. I went to the Sunday Times of London and gave them this information to tell them the truth about what Israel is doing, because Israel continued to deny all this production of atomic weapons in secret. And I, who was there working in these materials, especially in that place where they are producing the bomb, I decided that I should go and report to the world. I cannot keep it silent, I cannot take part in this cheating, and I must follow my conscience and my responsibility to other brothers and sisters all over the world. All the human race is brothers and sisters, all one race. And I want them to know the truth, and I took this information with photos that I took in secret in this place, give them to the Sunday Times to publish the information. But before it was published, the Israelis Mossad kidnapped me, brought me to Israel, and sentenced me to 18 years, and I spent 18 years in isolation, in silence, until I was released 2 years ago. And since then, I'm coming back and continue to speak and to remind the world the danger of nuclear weapons in Israel. So from one side, Israel have this very beautiful article about freedom and liberty. From the other side, they are destroying anyone who are criticizing them or revealing the truth, telling the world the truth about the real reality, the real democracy of Israel. What happened, a simple story, I left Israel in January 19. I decided I'm going to the Far East, toward Far East, and from there I'll go to United States. And the only way to go at that time is by a flight from Greece to Bangkok that stopped in Moscow, and I stopped in Moscow. The plane stopped 24 hours for the next flight, and I stayed in the hotel 24 hours, and they took us also to see Moscow center by bus, and I come back, and I saw the poverty there, and I saw how this Russia communism is very undeveloped and poor. And I was disappointed from this, and I decided not to speak to anyone about my anti-nuclear weapons views, about Israel's nuclear secret, because I didn't want to end my life there in Siberia or some place like this. But I was ready to publish the story by any newspaper who will publish them. Before leaving my job, I smuggled camera and took 60 photos, 2 films. But I didn't develop them. I decided I will not develop them until I find a newspaper who are ready to publish them. Because if you develop them and people can see the photos, the information can be spread and come to the Israelis Mossad, and they can attack me. So I decided I will not develop them until I will find a newspaper who want ready to publish them. That's what happened when I come to Sydney, Australia, and I was baptized and spent time in the church. And I find a journalist who want to help me, and we went to develop the films in Sydney, maybe about 9 months after my release, my leaving the job. And we saw the photos was very good, and then we gave them to the newspaper to publish them, and I left them after the Israeli kidnapping, and they are still there. All the 60 photos with the negatives are still in the Sunday Times hand. What happened is, when the Israeli authority kidnapped me, put me in prison, and they decided to do all what they can to break these men or change him or damage me. So the way to do is they decide to put me in total isolation. In total isolation, everything is controlled by the spy. In secret, they control all your life. They control even the light, the water, the food, the contact with other human being, the mail that you receive, even the air they could stop. So they gave me 18 years, and during these 18 years, the Israeli authorities decided to fight these men by all this system of controlling everything that I depend on, and to use it for their benefit, to try to break me, change me. So from the beginning, they put light on in my room, not taking the light for 2 years. They refused to let me sleep one night without the light. And that was very cruel and torment me and almost break me my nerves. For 2 years you cannot sleep. Every night you see the light. And they justified because they put video camera inside the cell. This is another reason. They put the video camera in the cell to learn, to follow me, everything that I'm doing, any behavior that I'm doing. They want to learn and to use it against me to fight me back. So that was the beginning of very cruel, barbaric treatment by the Israeli authorities. And they used the guards, they recruit them to send them to me, to tell me anything they want, abusing me, and I cannot do anything. I didn't give them the reason to beat me or punish me violently, because I know they want me to be aggressive, then they can beat me and be more cruel to me. I used to answer them by non-violence, by telling them what I think, or by declaring my Christianity very strong and powerful. So the life in the isolation for 18 years was very cruel. They used to disturb, even after they take the light, they used to wake me up anytime they want in the night. They used to, like some night they can send a guard, and every half hour he come and put a torch light on me. And I said, why you come every half hour? He said, they told us to check if you are still alive, if you didn't commit suicide. That's what they're in mind. They hope I can't commit suicide. But I was very strong and determined. They used to make noise. They used to send people or guards shouting very abusive words against me. They used to control the food and bring it anytime they want. They can delay it for 2 or 3 hours, and they can choose what you will receive or not get. The mail, newspaper and letters that I used to receive, they can hold them for 2 or 3 months, and you can wait. Imagine 3 months for a letter that someone sent you. After 3 months you answer him, and he receives it after 4 months. That's impossible to connect with other outside world. So these are examples of how they try to break me and punish me and to make me regret or damage my mind. Their target was these men, me, will not get alive and normal. He should be destroyed, that when he get out, no one will respect him, no one will hear what he said. But thank Jesus Christ, I survived because of my very, very determined and firm and decision. I make a very big decision from the beginning that I want to survive, and I want to get out and speak again and to let the world to see what the Israelis did to me and what their crime against humanity, against all the world by their atomic weapons and their treatment against me. So this trial started was going to be started in January 15. That's what the judge decided in July before. But the Israelis who want to hide this case is not good for the Israelis democracy, to let the world see a man charged just because he speaks to foreign media So they want to hide this case from the media, especially US media. They changed the date from January 15 to January 25, because at that day all the media in the Middle East was engaged, concerned with the Palestinian first election all over the West Bank. So the result is no one come to the court except two journalist people from small channels, Jerry Levy and others, and no one report about this case in the big media. In this case, the US media hear that I'm under orders not to speak to foreign media, so the US media who are here decided not to touch this case because they are afraid that the Israelis can punish them or can expel them from reporting this. So every journalist who are working here and covering the situation here don't want any problem with Israeli authorities. They don't want to be thrown out from the state. So the result is all of them are cooperating with Israel and not reporting anything about me. But this is another good example of the US media who are very believing and talking about freedom of information, freedom of knowledge, and reporting live from all over the world, CNN, ABC, CBBC, 60 Minutes. In this case, all of them are in silent and cooperating with Israel because of the fear from the Israelis lobby in the United States and the Israeli authority here. My view, US media is totally under the Israel control when it comes to any case that concerns Israel. It is very bad and very sad that US media is not free, and there is the power of this Jewish Zionist lobby in Washington and all over the United States is deciding what the people of the United States should know and should not hear about. I hope this situation will be changed and the US media will be free. It looks like that US media is under occupation, not only the West Bank under occupation, but Washington itself is under secret occupation by the US, by the Israeli authorities and the Jewish lobby, the Zionist lobby in Washington. Yes, it's very sad that Hillary Clinton, who is very Democrat and very talking about human rights, when she came here, she went to the Jewish Wailing Wall and forget that the real Wailing Wall, the crying wall, is the Palestinian wall. That is the big Wailing Wall the Israelis build now. That is what the world should go and visit. The separation wall, the apartheid wall. And no one can accept the Israelis' explanation about security and about bombs, all this, because the bombs continue to come from everywhere. And the wall is not for real defense, it's just for keep this conflict permanently, that the Israelis could tell it to the United States they are fighting terrorism and they need their support, and the US could continue to support them and give them much more billions of dollars. And the Christian Zionists will come and give them their support, while the real people who need this help from the Christian Zionists, or the real Christian, is the Palestinians. So we need Hillary and all the Christians to come and see the real war, the apartheid war, and the Palestinian suffering here by the war.